Welcome back, friend. All right, so today I got my clay. We've got about 5 to 6 pounds of clay needed, ready to go on the wheel, because today, my friend, we are going to make a chip platter with a chip bowl like dip inside the platter, like a salsa and chip platter combination, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, we're gonna create something that will allow us to eat chips and dip all within the same piece of pottery. I like equipment. I get serious about my chips and salsa, okay? All right. However, I'm not too much of a guac guy. I hope none of you will hold that against me. So let's go ahead and slap this big guy on here. Wow. And just know, like with all these projects that we're making, you can always start off with less clay if you want. You know, whatever you're most comfortable with and work up to it. If you're here just watching, thanks for stopping by and having a good time with us. All right, just gonna pull my sleeve down here. Here we go. Let's go ahead and get this clay wet so that we can center it by holding our hands on the sides. And we're just gonna kind of make a cone. The good thing about this chip and dip platter is that we don't have to like go up super tall with the clay. You can if you want, but basically we're going to be centering it down because we're gonna make it nice and flat. I'll show you what that means in a second. Basically, let's go ahead and go down with this clay. I'm keeping it nice and wet. Watch as I slowly kind of push down with my hand. This is like the technique that you would want to use for throwing bigger pieces of pottery. So again, we'll just go in and up nice and slow now that we got some water on there. And if we just go nice and slow, that wobble will come right out. Now we've got these beautiful little stress lines here. It's looking pretty good so far though. We went up pretty high. Let's go ahead and take it down. Take it downtown. Just gonna go nice and slow. Look at that. It's going into one lump piece of clay. You think we can make something out of a lump of clay? It's like my favorite part about pottery is like it just starts off as this lump of clay that just looks like a glob. Then you turn it into something beautiful. Gosh, I feel like my life has been that lump of clay at times. You ever felt like a lump or a bump on a log? There you go. Now I understand why my dad sometimes told me, stop acting like a bump on a log. But hey, it's okay. Sometimes we have those days. All right, let's bring this down further. Look, I'm just rolling my hands down. One thing I am gonna do before we go all the way down though, is I'm gonna really push in and up because I don't want the top to be centered but not the bottom. And so we're just gonna go up and back down. It's feeling really good. Okay. Yeah, it's feeling really good. Whoop, took a chip out. Ha, no pun intended. With my nail, took a chip out. Okay, so we're just gonna push this clay down. What I'm doing is pushing with my left hand and my right hand is really supporting. So I'm pushing down and kind of in at the same time. So you notice that as we do this, I've got my fingertips down at the base to kind of keep the bottom super centered. Because oftentimes what'll happen is you'll be pushing and this bottom part like does not get centered. And so having my fingers down there helps prevent, helps prevent the bottom from being off while the top is on center. Now this whole thing is being centered, which is pretty cool. So one of the first steps in making your chip and dip platter is centering the clay, of course, but really like flat. So I'm gonna come on the top here and just really push. Now watch what that clay does. It just wants to like slowly disperse itself. This is actually quite a bit of clay. I'm like, oh dear, I wonder if I got too much. But hey, it's better to have a little too much than not enough, because it's really hard to add clay back once you're to this step, as I've mentioned before. Okay, so what I want to do here is push down with my fist just to get a good depth, because really what we're gonna do is, this is like the bowl portion. So in theory, like this is the bottom of the bowl down here. So we dug down, and because it's a platter, we really want to make sure the base is thick, which is why I'm probably gonna stop at that depth right there, and it's gonna be like an inch thick. And the reason why is we don't want it too thick, but we definitely don't want it too thin, because if it's too thin, oh wow, that feels so cool. Look, we're just like slowly widening out this platter. I kind of lost even like my train of thought and what I'm doing. We don't want it too thick, because then it could kind of blow up in the kiln on us, but we don't want it too thin, because then it's not going to be sturdy at all. And boy, am I planning for a giant bowl of salsa and tons of chips. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like salt and vinegar chips to me. I love salt and vinegar chips. Put in the comments what chips you love to eat. And I mean, it's like salt and vinegar chips in the sense of when I start eating them, I can't stop. So it's like the same thing with salsa. You have a good salsa and chips in front of me, it's like, wow. Here in Utah, there's this place called Los Hermanos. Shout out to those guys, because they makes my favorite. You know what? I might even go get some today, because it sounds so good. They make such good chips and salsa. All right, we're just gonna slowly kind of flatten the bottom here. I'm being super, super careful. We really want this bottom to be compressed so that we can have a good sturdy bowl or platter. There we go. Wow, check that out. It's amazing trying to like smooth this out all in one piece. That's looking pretty good. Just gonna, okay, we got that part smoothed out. Now here's the thing. So now that we've got this platter like really smoothed out there, we need to invert this. So we got all this clay here, and I'm gonna push it in. It's gonna go kind of up like that, which is cool. That's kind of like what we want. But if this is our bowl, we still need the platter part. So I'm just gonna move this in just a little bit more. Check this out. What's gonna happen next is we're gonna get the clay wet, okay? This is where it gets interesting, because we are going to now make the bowl part. So to gauge that, we're gonna bring this layer of clay all the way down. And we gotta decide, okay, is this gonna be a big enough kind of bowl? Or do we want to bring more clay down like this? So I think there's plenty to use right there. So let's just go ahead and push. Now, just like before when we were centering, it feels so good to be back on the wheel. We're just gonna go and push this down. So what we're creating is we have a platter part, but we also have this bowl part. Honestly, I feel like the bowl part has a little too much clay. And so we are going to do this. We're actually gonna bring this clay down. There we go. That's really nice. Kind of step by step, right? Now again, this is totally an experiment. Just kidding. I mean, I've done one of these, but it's been a while. So we're gonna push down. This is the same way you kind of do ring holders. The only difference would be you would push this whole thing in instead of making it into a bowl. Okay, I like the thickness. I'm just gonna bring this out here. Let some of that clay that's gonna naturally fall off. Now let's go ahead, get that wet. There we go. Okay, we're gonna go a little deeper. Okay, that's about as deep as we wanna go. Let's get some more water on there. Gotta keep it wet. And now let's pull the clay towards us. See how this is kind of turning into like a platter? Okay, so basically got that there. All right, now let us play with this. If we push in, whew, I love that. Okay. What kind of platter do we want? Do we want one that's shallow? Do we want it to like come up? Do we want a huge bowl? Like, holy cow, this platter could be like the size of this pottery wheel, and I would be stoked about it. But what I'm thinking is we kind of want our chips to be able to like hang out in here. And so before we do that, let's go ahead and mess with this guy right here. This is the bowl, and we need it bigger for sure. See that? Okay, but we don't want it to fall off. So we'll just get that. Get all the water in there. This is crazy. I'm so excited to use this. Okay. Now, I'm gonna push some clay down so that this guy really adheres, but also so that we can feel it out. Now, because we're making a bowl, I'm gonna go slow, okay? Look at that. It's just stretching. It's just stretching. Look at that bowl. Oh, that's a lot of salsa. Might have to put salsa in the outside and put the chips in the inside. Okay. Now, I kind of like the sharp look, and so if we come in here and just go like this, and we're gonna slow it down quite a bit. This tool actually is like the perfect fit for what your bowl and platter should kind of look like. Wow, check that out. Yeah, that'll be a lot of salsa. My kind of salsa bowl plate. Okay. Now that we've got the bowl kind of figured out, let's take this guy, because there's still a lot of clay down here. We're just going to slowly pull it towards the outside here. Got that? Oh, wow. And then maybe to like right about there. Because what we're gonna do, we want this to be thick, the bottom, but this part that's flared up, we can actually make it bigger. That makes sense. So this will make sense here in just a second. But before I do that, I wanna kind of finalize this stuff, what it's gonna look like down in here and the bowl. And for dip, you kind of want the bowl to be angled in a little bit. Okay, we'll do that. Oh, this is so perfect. Oh, this is so perfect. It's like a sombrero. Okay, and then this part, now that we've got the inside bowl all figured out, let's take this guy, okay? We need some more water on the outside. There we go. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little pull. So I'm gonna push in a little bit. Of course, those holes are right there. What's going on there? Okay. We're just gonna gently pull up. Make this taller. Look at that. Okay, so here's the deal with this guy. You have to be so careful because of the angle. Remember, we need this guy. We need it to be able to match this angle. So if you don't do this correctly, it could want to like flop. We're gonna slowly and gently set that angle for it. Boom. I think we gotta stop there. Holy cow. Oh my gosh. This is like one of the coolest things ever. Okay, I'm just gonna smooth it out carefully. Careful. Be careful, Tyler. I'm trying to get all that water off of it because that's bad news, bears. Okay. Okay, I think that's fine. Oh my gosh, this is so scary. I just feel like any sudden move, that thing could like flop. Okay. We gotta heat this up like ASAP. This one's gonna be fun to slap. Cal, I feel like pottery can just apply to so many things in life. Okay, let's go ahead and just trim up the bottom here. This might be slightly tricky as we're cutting down and into it. Yep, see it kind of popped up on there. So I'm gonna be a little more careful as I come in here. I found that angle, and now I'm just gonna kind of slowly but gently push the clay down. I'm gonna hang out right there. Okay. Okay, I think I got it. The only problem is I didn't go deep enough. This is really tricky. I'm like way down in here. I need to get to the bottom. Got it. Okay. Okay, now that we got to the bottom, so we're gonna do a little bit different thing here. We're gonna take the needle tool because it's way down in there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like cut it right here, and I'm gonna slowly go underneath this piece. And then we're gonna try and pull that away from it. Oh, dang it. But you don't want it to jump up there and stick on it. Wow, this is definitely like stretching my abilities and patience with pottery. I just want that piece to come down. Ah! Okay, be patient, Tyler. Let's be patient. Because I can fix that. That's no problem. It's this piece. There we go. Wow, that is really down in there. We gotta like, this is like the game's surgery. Like, it's sticking. It was sticking to it. Holy cow. That's gonna be interesting to, okay, come on. Come on, little guy. Let's get away from that. So you almost got it. See, now we got just this part right here. Wow, it was so sticky. Okay. There we go. All right, now I think just about everything is like taken care of, besides a few little goobers that I'm gonna need to be strong and like smooth out. There we go. Check that out. We've almost got it cleared out. It's just like so shallow that the clay is like gumming up on this piece. But I think we've, for the most part, like smoothed it out pretty well. Yeah. There we go. That's pretty smooth. Did you hear that? It's like the wheel has had it. We'll just get that nice and smooth. Wowie. Scary. Okay. It's looking good. Okay. Wow. It's like, it's a lot harder. Okay, we need this plate thing. We gotta get ready for this one. Okay. Because I don't know what's gonna happen. All right, let's just go like this. Got that on there. Come through. Sometimes this hurts your thumbs. Just hang in there, because as long as you don't give up. I'm like taking chips. Oh, yes. Oh. Okay. So here's the deal. We've got a platter. Just needs a little bit of love. Okay, all right. We got a platter. Okay, because of the size of this, we're going to smooth it out probably tomorrow. And, you know, just get it all nice and smoothed out. And then we'll throw it in the kiln. So let's get this thing bisque fired. Woo. Check that out. Nice and bisque fired. Okay, you're probably wondering, we never made this. Well, in my spare time, I made this jug because I have some good news and bad news. I'll give you the bad news first. The bad news is the chip and dip platter shattered, like pieces everywhere in the kiln, completely obliterated. So weren't really able to salvage that one, which is okay, because guess what? We get to glaze this guy. Now this piece my wife loves, so I'm very glad it made it through the firing process. It's bisque fired, as you can tell. I haven't mentioned that in past episodes, but that's how you can tell if a piece is bisque fired, okay? If you flick it gently and it's not bisque fired, you'll be able to tell. It's not as a high-pitched ting, but let's go ahead and jump right into it, okay? So we've got Ocean Matte. Now this was by request by my wife to glaze this piece Ocean Matte. She's from California, and so I felt like it's probably why she chose this glaze, and I'm really excited because I love the ocean. And I really love this piece. So first things first, we need to shake it up. I added a little bit of water. I shook it up a little bit earlier, so I'm just gonna get right into it, okay? We've got this glaze. It kind of goes on gray, which is kind of interesting, but then it comes out totally blue. So let's go for it. Now let's go ahead, just like always, get a bunch of glaze on the bottom, flip this guy over, and let's get a nice line to write on. I should say wave, really. Okay, I might have had a little too much water in my brush, but that's okay. We'll just paint right over it. Because what's nice is this thing is going to be all the same color. I just washed this brush, so it definitely has some water in it. But hey, if you have a little extra water in there, it's better than it being dry, I guess. So now we're doing the line nice and carefully, okay? I'm just kind of spinning it along. Maybe I'll do it like that so you can see. I'm creating this. I can tell I had some water in my brush because the harder I push, the more like water comes out. Which only means that we just need to make sure that line is nice and thick, or that wave. I think I called it a wave. I'm really excited to see how this one turns out. Really more excited to see my wife's face when it's done. She'll be so happy. Maybe I'll even give it to her for Mother's Day. I've got a few things. That's what's nice about making pottery. The wife, husband, I'm sure they'll love pottery. Pottery and flowers make them feel super special. Or their pottery and their favorite candy inside. In case my wife sees this. Except don't go buy the Target pottery, babe. I can make that stuff. You know, when you start doing pottery, you're like, oh, wow. I know they made that in China, and that's super cool that they're doing that, but I can make that. Like, that's kind of cool. Okay, we're almost done with this line. I just want to get this one a little bit higher. So look, we're making that wave, pushing that line up. Really pushing that line up to where we want it. That's beautiful. All right, you guys. That's looking great. Okay. So now we're going to kind of turn the pottery, and let's see how we're doing here. Let's take some of that glaze. Wow, I'm really matted on there. I'm thinking we should definitely do a few coats here. Just go back and forth. Oh, man. This is like one of my favorite pieces I've glazed. It's like so easy to glaze and fun to watch. All that kind of color change. Look at this. Now with this guy, I'm just going to be a little careful on the handle because you can see there's just a couple cracks there. And so if you do have a handle that you're kind of worried about, if you see like some cracks on there, guess what? You can use the brush to get some glaze deep in there. Like that. Look at that. Just really put it in there. And what that will do is actually add another like protection layer, fuse it to your pot even more, so that you can be more confident. And if someone were to use this pitcher, for example, or if you have a mug, that it wouldn't fly off. Now, if it did, that'd be quite the story, wouldn't it? Someone grabbed your piece of pottery and it fell off. They're like, and then they broke it, and then you could say, "You broke it! What the heck?" And just play a little joke on them. All is well. All is well. Wow, look how fast we're cooking through here. Now, because I could tell it was like pretty wet, that's when you know you really want to make sure that you got enough coats on the outside, okay? I can already tell we're going to need to do some more on the rim and the spout, which is totally fine. Just be aware. Check that out. Oh, maybe stretch your back a little bit. Been sitting here for a while. All right, let's just do one more quick layer on this outside. You can tell I'm like really wanting to make sure this turns out really good, because my wife loves this pitcher, and if anything happens to it, if it doesn't turn out, it could be really sad. Let's get some more up here on that handle. Just make sure that's all nice and good to go there. Now look, I'm spreading it out, making sure it's, see these strokes, we're gonna go over it like that. That actually makes it look really nice instead of splotchy. It's kind of called like cross hatching in a way. Okay, wonderful. Now let's do this top part. Remember I said we need to do this lip part really good. Let's see if I can touch the bottom. I love how fast this glaze dries, because then you can just go straight to all the other parts that you need to, like this one. I might go over that again in a second. But first, let's go ahead and do the inside, because that part's really important. I've got a long brush, which is super nice. Let's go around and around and around. Kind of like this, and I'll turn it. Now we have got to make sure that we get plenty of coats in here, because that's what will make it like food safe. And if you don't, then, well, just add a lot. Getting closer to the top here. Here we go. Now the first coat, it's always a little bit more difficult, because this clay, now that it's been bisque fired, is just super dry. Like it's like a really, really dry sponge. And so it just really soaks that clay in there. Or soaks the clay in the clay. Soaks the glaze in the clay. This top part, we're just gonna dab it like this. It's kind of hard to get, so we gotta be a little creative here. There we go. It's looking pretty good. Kind of running out of glaze. There we go, there we go. Okay. Get that top rim. Remember, people will notice. Okay, so it looks like we've got our first, I'll just double check and make sure you've got your first coat, because now we're gonna kind of solidify it. Whoops. Get all that glaze in the bottom. Looking beautiful. Just spin it. See, now the glaze is just kind of like really slick, and so we can actually use it on the rest of the pot. If we do this kind of like upward spiral to ensure that there's plenty of glaze in there to keep it food safe without me putting that glaze on the wheel on accident. Whoops. Just kind of going back and forth here, back and forth. It's looking really good in the midsection there. These jar-like shapes are kind of hard to glaze, I'm not gonna lie. And I'm a little paranoid because I want this to be perfect. But you need to just let go a little bit. It's all good. Okay. Now, we need to make that nice and smooth. The top there. Make sure we got all the correct parts in here. Okay. Whew. Okay, I feel pretty good about that. The last thing I'm gonna do is just do one more layer up here. I really like to do that rim nice and thick because it looks really nice when it's on there thick. Kind of makes it like extra smooth, extra vibrant, just all around extra fun. Okay, do the outside. Okay. We've already good the rest of the place. Yay, we did it. All right, let's go ahead and get this in the kiln and see how it turns out with a nice little glaze fire. Boom. Check that out. Okay, we've got ocean matte. Now, gosh, my wife's gonna love this. I know we didn't end up with the chip and dip platter, which hurts my heart, but you know, sometimes life just goes that way. So regardless, thanks for bearing with us through this journey of the Heart of Clay series season 1. And hopefully, as we know, season 2 is coming out soon. So please join us for season 2 if you've enjoyed these. And hopefully we'll be able to get the chip and dip platter that we were creating before in a future episode. So stay tuned for that. Now I'm just gonna put this up to my ear since it's ocean matte. Yep, I can hear the ocean. I think my wife's gonna love this. Anyways, thanks guys for joining us, and super happy to wrap up this season. If you have any comments, suggestions on projects we should make or glazes we should try, please put them down below. Again, all the things that we use in the Heart of Clay series, we will try and make sure to put links below so that if you'd like to get those, not only support the channel, but if you'd like to get those brushes, supplies, tools, clay, pottery wheels, stuff like that, feel free to find all the stuff below so you can follow along. Thanks so much for joining us, and I hope to see you on the next season. Oh, please don't forget, have the best day ever.